What's going on, Canada Spaceman? You're just gonna miss like this backstage portion of us here as we kind of pull things together and get everything ready. I'm having some internet issues with loading things up, but other than that, all right. Welcome everybody to another edition of your Impact Attack here on patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. And I am one half of your dynamic duo here at the Impact Attack. And Vet, could you just turn your headphones down just a scoosh? Just a tiny little scoosh. There we go.
How's that?
That's perfect. That's perfect. I can't hear myself now through your headphones. But I will say, Vet, how's everything going this week for you, man?
Well, Colin, it's been kind of a rough week since the last time we were on the air.
Yes, it has.
As we were recording the Impact Attack, or as it's called the Moose Attack now, or
The Moose Attack.
perhaps just the
Impact
Moose.
One of
The Moose.
on patreon.com/Hameen Moosey group.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Actually, you may not find anything if you look for that. So just
Yeah,
stick to what you know. But this show could be called the Moose. Yeah. So we were recording, and as we were recording, we got news of we didn't see it at the time, but news was coming out about the passing of New Jack, Jerome Young. So. Is there anything that you want to say about the legendary New Jack?
He just ECW, man. I was so pumped when New Jack would come out because you knew something was going to happen. You were going to see blood, guts, gore. Him and they just the matches that they put on at ECW. Like I mean, it's so far. I mean, they made it to a Weezer song. Like it literally grunge leg dropping New Jack through a press table is in the line of a Weezer song. That's how impactful New Jack was on these people. Which, granted, I heard that line in El Scorcho that Rivers wrote actually was from somebody that in his college class, like from a paper of someone in his college class. Like he took a couple lines from that kid's paper, so that wasn't even Rivers' own thoughts going into that. That was somebody else's. But it's still in a song of one of the greatest bands of all time, basically. So, New Jack is a guy that wrestling's never gonna have again. I don't think. I mean, there are some guys out there that are, but he really like Paul Heyman. Like I don't know if you saw the tribute that Paul Heyman did for New Jack, but at the 100% correct on the type of guy that New Jack is. Like he was 100% gangsta. Like the dude took liberties with people in the ring, like did whatever he wanted to do when he was out there, and it was his art form. That's how that was the clay that he used to create his art.
I definitely cannot condone any of the things that New Jack had done inside of a ring, outside of a ring, or off of a balcony, or any of those other things. But
that minor that he beat up or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff around him.
Are you talking about mass transit? That's
yes.
Well, that kid brought that on himself. He should never have been in that situation. But what I can condone is, the character and the promo ability of New Jack. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's what's going to be the real legacy. I think people are going to remember the hardcore stuff. Less people will have seen the stuff that he did, like when he was a Smoky Mountain Wrestling and stuff like that. But just definitely, if you're not that familiar, go down a YouTube rabbit hole and try to find some New Jack stuff, because this is stuff that would never have he could never have been in a mainstream company, just because they're like. I'm sure he could have easily done just as good of a character and made it able to fit TV, but he wouldn't have. He just would have refused to do it, So, because of New Jack, I learned at a young age the phrase "justifiable homicide." I probably should not have. Had my innocence taken away that early, but
young vet staying up till like 2 a.m. to watch ECW. Well, I guess it probably wouldn't have aired that late out in Cali, would it?
No, it came on. It came on like where I was. If I could even get it, I couldn't have cable or anything. It had to be like antenna TV, and it was like usually like 11 o'clock on Saturday nights or something like that, or 10 to 11 as Saturday nights. And even then, it wasn't always every week. It's just like, I don't know if, it's like Paulie forgot to pay some bills, which is probably the case, couldn't even get a guaranteed weekly time slot. But like I struggled to watch a staticky, snowy, garbled ECW hardcore TV. So then we go from that to while I'm doing my guest spot on the Next Level show, we get the news right in the middle of the show that Paul Mooney died.
Yeah.
Comedy legend Paul Mooney. So a lot of most fans, younger fans, whatever, or even older fans, mainstream fans, would probably just know him from his appearances on the Chappelle Show, where he did the sort of Ask a Black Dude segments or Negrodamus. But
I love Negrodamus. That was a good one.
That was a good one. But I mean, he's been a comedy force behind the scenes and kind of, underground for a long time, writing for Richard Pryor and, stuff like, imagine Richard Pryor having a writer.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing.
We don't even think about that.
Do, though. You would be amazed at how many of these like huge comedians have had other people write their jokes, because comedians talk to each other and stuff like that all the time. So I'm sure Paul was like, hey, I'm not as big as you. I've got some jokes here that if you want them, you can take them. I mean, I think Mike Birbiglia has a show on Sirius XM called Work It Out. And he gets up there, he brings on other comedians and he'll like run bits by him and they kind of work it out on the show. And then they kind of help each other work bits out, like bounce stuff off each other. And then they go and they use those bits in their jokes, or like, I would be like, oh, here's a good line that you could say, opinion haver, and you go and do what you got to go do with it, Vet. And then you would go out in the ring and you'd use that line and everybody would, oh yeah, Vet's da 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 da. But you would know that, and Colin gave me that line kind of thing, but you're the one that got it over and made it famous and stuff like that, which I don't think Paul Mooney had that clout per se, but there's so many great comedians that are behind the scenes. Neil Brennan, a white guy, helped Dave Chappelle write most of his stuff.
Of course, but that's more public. Like,
yeah,
he's always acknowledged Neil Brennan as a writing partner and things like that. So, but yeah, so Paul Mooney's been there. He's done stand up. People that like stand up know who Paul Mooney is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he's been in movies here and there and stuff like that. Actually, one of my more memorable roles of his in a movie was in Spike Lee's Bamboozled, where he plays the father of the Damon Wayans character. But if anybody hasn't seen that movie and you've got a strong stomach, you might want to check it out. It's pretty relevant, especially, it was made in 2000, but it's more relevant today, I think.
Well, so is Idiocracy.
Yeah, well, except that this is a legitimately good and powerful film, and Idiocracy is just kind of,
a Mike Judge film. Yeah,
right. So there was that. And then Colin, you hit me with the most recent pass.
I think this is probably the most devastating of all three.
Right.
When you say
because not to make light of the other two, but it's because, I mean, Paul Mooney wasn't really in the spotlight and he was almost 80 years old, and New Jack was kind of like, he might have had a career resurgence lately, but it didn't end up happening. So we weren't necessarily robbed of anything, even though it's still sad. I mean, yeah. we never got to see if New Jack could have had a round two, or 3 or 4, depending. But this one is because something ongoing was interrupted. So go ahead.
Well, yeah. So we lost. Oh gosh, I got to pull up his name.
Kentaro Miura.
Kentaro Miura. Yeah, I was gonna say Kenta for some reason, dude. It's been a long day. Kentaro Miura, the writer, the creator of probably hands down the best anime manga series of all time. And I know there's a lot of nerds that are gonna get triggered when they hear this. Like, no, Dragon Ball Z is the greatest anime and manga of all time. Akira Toriyama. No, go watch Berserk. Go pick up the manga. Literally, the first page of the first book of Berserk is the main character Guts, in the future, so to speak, or I guess present time, making love to a woman, and this woman becomes a demon, and he kills her right there while he's still making love to the demon. Just uses his little cannon arm and just destroys her. And then we learn the whole story of who Guts is with his cannon arm and his giant ass sword, and he's probably the most badass like hero of all time. Like if would you want a Guts like character in professional wrestling? That'd be a character that you would
He's
pull for.
he's too good for something stupid like pro wrestling.
The UFC. He'd be like a UFC character, wouldn't he?
Even that, it's too clownish and cartoonish in the UFC for Guts.
That is true. That is
Guts
true.
is a real man. Yeah, he. So this is tough because the story was sort of ongoing,
Yeah.
and if you take it back to when this, I believe, it started getting serialized in '87. And if you take it back that far to now, and there's been like, the reason it's not finished is because there's been long hiatuses, because of I mean, the auteurism of, Miura was like, he wanted to do everything himself, draw everything himself, even though he obviously had the clout to have assistants and other things helping and things like that. And he probably, leaned into that a little bit more, in his later age, but it still was just, he was a perfectionist and he wanted everything done a certain way. So he kind of had to do it all himself. And as a result, now we're not going to see, how the story ends, at least not through his perfectionist eyes. Maybe they'll finish it, for him, as like a tribute. Maybe, he has plans locked away. I know this happens sometimes where like, the creator will have like plans locked away. It's like, if anything, in case of anything, please finish this in this way. But yeah, so I wouldn't even recommend to anybody if to watch the adaptations that they've made. I would just say read it. It's the only real way to experience the growth of a character. I mean, when we first meet, I don't want to spoil anything for people that are interested in reading it. But I just, in the most vague of terms, like, you see a man who's alone, then you find out why he's alone, and by the end of it, towards the end of it, as he grows, he's not alone anymore. By at the most later stage, we're reaching like a sense of closure almost, and he's got a traveling party of people who are like he can count on, which is completely different from how the thing starts. But it all makes sense, and you're kind of rooting for all these characters. So, if you're interested at all, just read it. No adaptations do it justice. Yeah. There's never been anything this gruesome.
It's so good. It's just so good. Like the characters that he comes across, like even the bad guys that sit here and warn him about the Behelit and everything. Like I forgot the guy in the castle that he ends up fighting that ends up like flying out and is just like, like kind of like, you'll regret all this shit. Like I tried to warn you kind of thing. And it's so good. And the way that like, if you're going to watch an adaptation, I would say find the DVD, like the series DVD, because as the vet said, there are so many different like movies and adaptations where it's like it's almost like with Dragon Ball Z, where they did Dragon Ball Super, where they cut out all the like little stuff that you don't need. So, but you get a lot more from it when you
mean
see
the Kai version.
Yeah, you see the Kai version,
DBZ thing. Kai, where they re-edited the whole series to more closely follow the original
and speed it up, without all that extra bullshit. But that the extra bullshit in Berserk really helps because it, like you said, the backstory of the character, who Guts is, who all of his people are, who Griffith is, like all of these people. And you get that backstory, and it's necessary. But I feel like when they first came out with it, they watered it down with like all these movies and all that stuff. And like, I mean, you could probably go online and find the manga, but now that he's dead, the prices are probably going to go up a little bit. It's going to get expensive. I mean, when I first found out about it and started buying the mangas, I'd go on eBay or Amazon, and I was finding them for $3-4 a book. And just loading up on books. I mean, I think I had maybe 12 of them. I've lost them since then. I mean, that was over 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, all these moves and stuff like that. But it's quality art, as you said. The guy's doing it himself. And the story, the character, way better than anything that you're going to get in professional wrestling. Like this character progression of Guts, like you said, you see him grow up from a kid all the way to adulthood, and they even tried to do like this second season of Berserk, and it didn't quite hold up either. I think you agree with me on that when we talked about that.
I just think that the reason it loses out is because they will not take it to the extreme. Like if you talk about when you talk about the original anime, what's wrong with it is that like it's not violent enough.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about it, when you see this is this is the essence of the whole story. Like it's supposed to be extreme. You know, it doesn't, even the magazine it ran in was not like a mainstream magazine. You know, you can't have this. Some of it's like, if it wasn't in the context of the story, some of the stuff would be borderline pornography.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, like I literally said, the first page that you open up, he's
right, and there's more stuff later. There's lots of stuff that they don't want to handle, like there's entire characters and things that they cut out from any of the anime adaptations because it would be too extreme for, you know, like what the intended audience is, like children, I guess, in the sense of like you see a cartoon and kids in Japan are used to seeing more adult themed stuff like in their cartoons, but even this was like, even for adults it's like a little much. So you're not going to get that you're not going to get that kind of stuff. They cut entire, you know, stuff out of it. And so it's definitely, there's ways that you can read the whole thing online if you're some kind of cheap bastard that you don't want to pay. I want to keep throwing money at it. I have every volume digitally that I bought from the Amazon store, so it's like the official, you know, Dark Horse adaptations. And there's like, you said you had like 12, there's like 30 something.
There's so many. Yeah,
there's so many.
The original series doesn't even touch on it. Just touches on a small portion of the story of Guts. Like you basically just get all of Guts's backstory up until the major event in the manga that happens, and then that was it. Like I was so confused when I started reading the mangas because like you said, it's different. It starts out different.
Yeah,
There's
every anime starts with the Golden Age arc, which is basically when Guts like grows up and kind of joins the Band of the Hawk, and it goes all the way up to the Eclipse thing. That's where they always start. But the original story starts with him already as an adult after the Eclipse. You know, again, not avoiding any spoilers, but you know, they always skip the Black Swordsman, which is the whole thing where he finds it's the little intro thing. He fights that Cobra guy. There's there's like a count that's like enslaved a town and is having people delivered for him to eat, you know, kind of thing. And then he's, you know, and there's that, and that's when he fights that guy, that's when he runs into the God Hand for the first time. The God Hand, how cool is that, right? Like, just listen to the God Hand.
Callus is in Berserk?
No, that's the Invisible Hand. We're talking about the God Hand, which is way cooler than anything Don Callis has ever done. Okay, yeah, so the God Hand shows up, and then you see the God Hand, and then it goes back and tells the story of like, who is this guy? Why does Guts want to kill the God Hand? And then it starts back when he's a kid, and then tells the story that all the animes start with. So they did it out of order in the anime to be more chronological, but then they never catch up, so it never becomes like you never get the full story, because I don't know whether it's not popular enough or if it's just because maybe that could have been it. Maybe the one from the 90s wasn't popular enough because it's not. You see a guy get cut and you see blood come out in the anime. In the comics, he, like, when he cuts somebody, they get cleaved in half, and guts are, and literal,
his sword is like the size of two people basically.
Which is also, like, I was trying to find out if that was if that was the origin of that whole Japanese guy with a sword 10 times larger than his body trope, you know, like if it had ever really been done before that, and it hasn't. So guys like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and Ichigo from Bleach, and all those, anybody that has a giant sword that they just carry around like it's no big thing, that's all because of Guts. But even that, like, you know, that the sword that you see him start with, the Dragon Slayer, is not it's not the sword that they always show him with in those animes. You know, it's just like a big sword that he finds.
Yes, you
So
do, Gammy. You need to watch Berserk. It is really good. But that's the thing too. I know a lot of people that love anime, and they're not for some reason they can't get into Berserk. And I don't know if it's because it's like a medieval tropic type of show, and it's kind of
that's
based
no
around
excuse
that.
because of Game of Thrones is popular.
Wait, yeah, but that's
But
I mean,
but as
but Game
as
of
I've
Thrones. I
as
was
I've
gonna
always
make a point.
said, Berserk, the comic, at least Berserk, it makes Game of Thrones look like Frozen. Disney's Frozen.
Well, and that's like just like Berserk, where he didn't finish it and all this other stuff. I mean, the dude never finished what people saw on TV, so they just started like winging it, and that's when it got terrible. It's like, all right, dude, you made your millions of dollars, so you just stopped writing your books, and now you're just gonna let them take over and ruin your work because now you're fucking rich and you're a bajillionaire now, and so whatever. Like he sold out. Like basically, that's what he did. Well, GGP might say he bought in, but he sold out, and we know he sold out, and that's why everybody hates the ending of Game of Thrones because you didn't keep it true to what it was in the books. And I feel like,
Even though there was no book to keep it
yeah,
true to at the
yeah,
time.
right towards the end there. And but like with Berserk,
That'd be a good time for the then you shouldn't have said it
yeah, I
drop.
should have said it drop.
Yeah.
But like in Berserk, I was upset because like the tavern. Remember at the beginning, he goes to the tavern and
Mm-hmm.
he saves the sprite.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has his own Navi before Link ever gets his own Navi, and
Mm-hmm.
then they don't even talk. Like he saves a little girl at this tavern in the anime. Like he doesn't even have this main side character that
Right.
follows him around pretty much the whole show and helps him in all this stuff, and they just totally leave that out of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the
Right.
manga, and it's a good character.
Yeah, and it's and yeah, Puck is who you're talking about. And it's still he's still with Guts to this day. And there's even like he's even met another one. Uh, what? There's a witch named Shirka, and then she like a little witch, and then she's got her own like fairy named Evalera too. So like Evalera and Puck are like the comic relief in the background, like always. You know what I mean? Like they're like they're the comic relief in all this heavy stuff because there's this little side drawings, in the corner panels of them like just having like little chats or
Their little
or jokes or
conversations.
something. So it's
Yeah.
funny.
No, Canada Spaceman, you should definitely check it out. Like it's a good watch. I mean, like the first episode drags you in, and then like Dragon Ball Z and all those other ones, there's filler episodes and stuff like that. But if you can trudge through the filler episodes, you get a lot of really good content. Like this Guts is so fucking badass. Like
Man,
it's so hard to like explain it. Like you have to watch, you have to understand the
yeah.
stories of like the dude gets so fucked up. He ends up getting a cannon arm, like, and he can just pull on it and just blast things with his cannon arm. And then he's got this big giant sword that is so sharp he cuts through everything. Like it, and he's the heart and everything that you see in him. It's how can you not cheer for this guy and the stuff that he goes through? I mean, even for Griffith, you cheer for Griffith too, for a certain extent.
Yeah, to a point.
To a point.
But then you see, and that's the other thing too. Like the stuff that the artwork that he draws, like the stuff in the eclipse is that's exactly what nightmares are made of. You hear
Oh
people say
yes,
that phrase, but like some of those demons and stuff like that, you're just like, who the hell would ever come up with this? But that's why I say, and those have never been. Those have never been faithfully recreated in the anime. So that's why I say, despite Colin keeps saying you need to watch it, I would say just read it. Don't
yeah.
watch any of the things. If you've never touched it before, just read it. Reading is your friend. There's pictures. It's okay. You don't have to worry about it. And it won't be confusing because you just read it from start to finish, whatever the finish is. But
I mean, this is the art right here. I mean, let me go
right.
back. If
Well,
you can see this, I mean, look at
you show that to some millennial kids, they'll be like, "Oh, it's not that good," but it doesn't.
no, it's so like the time that it takes to do some of this stuff, and like there's Griffiths, there's Guts, like I mean, just this is such. I mean, it's
Yeah,
go watch it. It's so classic. It's so
Wolfers,
good.
read it. Read it. Don't
Read it.
watch
Yeah, sorry. Read it. Read it. Go find
I
it.
imagine the fillers are not as bad as Bleach or One Piece. No, there are really no fillers. It's the opposite. They leave so much stuff out.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They've never, none of the anime has ever, it hasn't lasted long enough. I think the first one was only like 26 26 episodes or some small number like that. And then they had a more recent a run of about maybe 26 episodes in total over two 13 episode seasons that caught up to more of the modern stuff. But again, while the soundtrack on the 2016 version is really good, it's just not it's leaving too much stuff out. So definitely read it however you can. You know, I would think that people that could read this for free will be like me and be inspired to throw as much money at it as they can, you know, as like a tribute almost. So yeah, Spaceman stop with Astro Boy, you know. Astro Boy started all, though. There would be no Berserker without Tezuka. Osamu Tezuka drew Astro Boy, and kind of like he was a big Disney fan, and he's the reason that stuff like that image of, like, you know, the big eyes and stuff like that is really like due to him. So we wouldn't have Berserk without Astro Boy, but Berserk is still really good.
Wolfers, yes, thank you. Actually, Tony Khan, much like he pays for advertising space on Impact Wrestling, he paid for AEW advertising space on the Impact Attack. Not only did he send me this lovely beanie to wear, but he also sent me this beautiful All Elite Wrestling shirt to wear during the show. Just, you know, we got to keep putting it out
Uncle
there.
Tony.
Kenny Omega, he's our champion. He's the world's champion. He's the belt collector. You know, Tony Khan's the man. AEW's awesome. I think I got all the plugs in I was supposed to get.
Okay, yeah,
on the sheet. Yeah,
we'll definitely. So yeah, so I mean, we've spent about enough time on this, but we really want to encourage everybody to go and read this great work from this guy, and that's like, it's definitely going to be something that people would enjoy. If Game of Thrones can be that popular, go see what started doing that kind of stuff way better, way longer ago, and way more visceral and emotionally affecting. So
yes, Astro Boy, Mandir. I don't know. BC Hunter's not Mandir. No, maybe not. No. Astro Boy, yes, definitely. Sad Trombones. Hang on, wait. You want to hear Sad Trombone? I gotcha. Yes, poor old Astro Boy, blast from the past. And yes, AEW did get demoted to TBS, home of great shows like Samantha Bee. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So enough of all this. Rest in peace to all three of those unfortunate losses that we suffered. I hope their family and friends are doing well in this time. But we have got to start talking about Impact, unfortunately, because we got a lot to cover, and I'm on a limited time.
You are very limited time.
So we're gonna start with Under Siege here, and we're gonna get. Decay is opening the show again. we got Myers versus Taurus in this match. They did Myers, of course, did a much better job of showcasing Taurus than, you know, Luke Gallows did, but there were just about as many chin locks, unfortunately, in this match. So even though he let Taurus get a little more shit in, he still won with his shitty clothesline. So, you know, a nice learning experience for Taurus, but I would say he looked better in this than Gallows let him look. So that's props to Myers for that, but demerits to Myers for his shitty finish and his chin locks. Then we get Kimber Lee and Susan versus Tennille and Taylor. So I don't know if this is just like a small thing, but like Kimber she has this face thing she does on her entrance. I don't know, like she does like this or some shit like that.
She's framing her face, yeah.
Yeah, but she does it like 3 times on her entrance. It's like, you know, this is something I talked about when I was talking about NXT. Like, people hitting their pose at the top of the stage and coming in the ring hitting the exact same pose. If you're going to hit multiple poses, you should have a different pose for each stage of your entrance. So don't just keep walking down to the ring and doing this like every camera you walk by. It just looks stupid.
That's lazy creative character work. Like you're just like, all right, I'm gonna do the same pose. I don't really feel like doing it. I'm gonna do the crotch chop every time I come out to the ring.
Right.
Man.
But I used to complain about Scarlett lip syncing on the way to the ring. Remember that? Oh man.
Yes.
After seeing Taylor, I apologize. Holy shit, that is bad. I'm not even sure she knows the lyrics, but she's trying.
It's been a long time, Bet. Come on, she's been out of the game for a long time. Cut her some slack.
Well, she had lots of time to practice. Is another way to look at it. This match started out awful and just tapered off from there. We had stereo, the announcers like to say stereo suplex or whatever. Well, this one we had stereo dump the other girl on her neck moves. At one point Tenille caught Lee on a shoulder block through the ropes. That spot where they try to like shoulder block through the ropes and the person sidesteps and catches them. It's like Kimberly turned herself into the neck breaker. She just went right into Tenille's arms and then was like, so great. And then, finally to mercifully end this match, Caleb kicked Susan right in the face for the finish. So we got a little intergender action there. That's nice. So ironically, while I was watching this match, I had to, in order to conserve time, because this is what I have to multitask now. I had the A&E biography of Shawn Michaels on the other screen showing like his WrestleMania 25 match with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
This match was the opposite of that. Like the polar opposite of that. If there's a polar opposite to that great WrestleMania 25 match with Shawn and The Undertaker, this was it. This was absolutely it.
Yes. What was worse, this match or Zombie Lumberjacks?
As a match, this.
Yes. Okay.
As a concept,
Zombie Lumberjacks.
Also this probably. Yeah.
We get a Sami Callihan package after this.
Yeah, he hacks in. He hacks in for a promo. There, no repercussion. I wonder if he gets fined for like hacking in the broadcast and stuff. It's like, look, Sammy, you got to stop doing this. We're gonna fine you $10,000. It's like, I don't know. So
Moore's in the back, like, God damn it, Sammy. God damn it, Sammy.
With his headset that's cheaper than yours. So next is a number one. Taylor Wilde looks like the struggle has been real. Okay. Yeah. There's no struggle for any white women. Number one contenders tag 4-way. It's nice to see Bronson and Otis again. Haven't seen them in a while. So this match lost me the moment it was announced. Like I didn't have to, before I even started watching it, it's like, I just saw this match and I was like, yeah, you lost me. I can't, I had one eye on this and I had one eye over on the other screen watching Sergeant Slaughter trying to get Sheik's clubs from Bob Backlund. All I know is one of the teams with a guy named Ace won. So, new number one contenders. Fire and Flavor promo. Nothing else to say. And then we got the Morrissey versus Mac match. So
come on. I was really, really hoping that Willie Mack was going to win this.
Were you?
Yeah.
But were you believing it?
I wasn't. No, I'm just kidding. I knew Morrissey was going to win. Where do you see them, like Morrissey going, like in Impact? Like
I thought he was going to Violent by Design, but I guess that was a one-off. Right?
He's doing his own thing here. Does he end up winding up like being Impact champion at some point in his career? Here, do you see it?
I mean, you could. I don't know. That depends on him. It depends largely on him because he's got the look of a guy that you could say is the champion, but he's also had very public issues.
Yeah.
We've heard about his the stuff that's happened with him on his post WWE run, which they ran him out of there unfairly, probably. But then after that, that's on him, you know. So that's all. That all that all depends on that guy. But we're here to talk about this match, and this match in particular. So we can see that he's got himself in great shape for a start, but we can also see why, because the cameraman might want to avoid close-ups of his back and shoulders. We're at Snitsky levels of breakout here. So it's no mystery why he's in the shape he's in.
We've got Gabby stooging off all of the steroids that she used to use when she was Tyler Rex. So,
right. I mean, no, you know, which that's got to make the transition harder, right? Trying to counteract.
I need more estrogen for all this testosterone that I took.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you don't even need the stooge off. You can just see it if you know what you're looking at. And so this match was not. This was not the match these guys should have had. Right? It even came complete with the mandatory 2 chin locks. I guess every match in Impact has got to put like a pair of chin locks on every single match, even if it wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't want a guy like a 7-foot guy like Morrissey. You don't really see that for him, but here we are, 2 chin locks. It should have been like a fast brawl that's like 50-50 back and forth, where Mac misses something and Morrissey gets like a flash win or something, you know, like, oh, he moved on this and boom, hits him with the whatever. And then like, it's like a surprise, like Mac made one mistake type of thing. This was just like a regular match. It didn't do anything really for either guy. And then Swan comes in, you know, after the fact, when Morrissey's trying to make his statement or whatever. Swan makes his run in, with his entrance music. So my question is, did they preload that entrance music, or did they only do that for the actual entrances, or do they preload the run-in music? I'm just wondering, you know, since they preload the music, right, Stryker?
This is something that we talked about in NXT too. It's like if you have the music queued up for this run-in, it's a run-in, but they got the music like. It ruins it. Like, because if it's a run in, you're just gonna run out there and just start kicking somebody's ass. But Vet, I have to ask you: is Rich Swann gonna win this feud with Morrissey?
What do you think?
No, I mean this dude's like probably comes up to Morrissey's hip.
Although that's not gonna stop them, no. You know. In fact, matter of fact, yes, he probably will win. Rich Swann is a former champion, and Morrissey's like he's better be on his best behavior. So I mean, we'll see. So Knockouts tag team titles. Kiera Hogan using her super strength again to move Rachel around. Both the times Rachel went to tag, she bumped the other girl who had to stop selling to stop the tag. You know, which is kind of like that's the opposite of the idea of you trying to get people interested in the tag. I know that there's not like the hot tag means a lot when there's not a live crowd, but you might as well practice. I mean, if you're going to be on TV having matches, you might as well practice for the days when the people will be back and try to, you know, get them into shit. So the temperature of the tag in this case was cold, like the bathroom floor on your bare feet, you know, when you wake up in the middle of the night type.
I like that feeling though. So maybe I would have liked that hot tag.
I'm not saying you would. Tag. Yeah, I'm not saying you would like it or not like it. I'm just saying that's what the temperature is. So like I appreciate that these women wanted to work hard, but to have a good match, you don't always have to just work hard. You have to think hard. The hardest part is the thinking beforehand. And you can think of ways to have the match you need to have rather than just trying to do a bunch of stuff in this match. Just to try to get people excited or interested or whatever the hell you think you need to do when you're coming up with this stuff. But it's the planning is where you have to do the hardest work. So just think of that and save your guys' bodies. But with all that being said, that I didn't really care for this match. Compared to the earlier women's tag team match, this was rock and roll and midnight as far as I'm concerned. Then we got Swingers Palace. Okay, we're on Swingers Palace now. I think Hernandez had a flosser in his mouth, like one of those pick floss. Like, is that a thing? Is this some hip like urban thing that I'm not aware of, that like people have a flosser in their mouth instead of like a toothpick? I don't know. Just
Yeah,
wondering.
no, it's kind of the new thing because the flossers have little toothpicks on the end. Some of them
That's
do.
right.
Yeah,
So it's more like a functional Scott Hall. Like not only can
yeah.
I pick my teeth, I could really
I
get
can
in there
really
and
get in
floss
there and
them.
floss it. You as my dentist used to say, Isaac Yankum, he used to say this a lot. You floss the teeth that you want to keep. So Hernandez is just flossing the teeth that he wants to keep, just that one where it sits as he's chewing on it the whole entire time.
Canada Spaceman uses floss picks, but not in public. But I mean, yeah. But when you're not using them, do you at least just go out and have them in your mouth
And then throw them at
like a
people
cool
like,
guy?
hey yo,
Yeah, yeah.
hey yo.
All right. So let's talk about some cool people, some Canadians. Okay.
God, Josh Alexander and El
Spaceman's perk
Phantasmo,
up.
so
We're gonna
cool.
talk about Canadians here. El Phantasmo versus Josh Alexander for the X Division Championship. So did you get to check out any of this match at all, Colin? You can be
Five-star
honest with the
classic.
people.
5-star classic.
That means no. That's okay, guys. Good match.
Look, I was surprised Phantasmo lost, but I like that they're keeping this title on Alexander. I mean, he's really good, really good. Both these guys are really good.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask if you were able to see the difference in a guy like ELP versus some of these other guys. But I'll ask the chat the same question. Like, can you guys see, like, I don't, it's hard for me to explain it. But can you see the difference between the way a guy like El Phantasmo works and the way that a guy like, I don't know. I guess we'll get to it later with VSK again, but like guys like that are just going from spot to spot, or a guy that takes his time and actually is like into everything that he's doing. I want to know. He never looks like he's remembering a spot or moving from one thing to the next too soon. He just, I wish he had gotten some mic time to get heat for this match instead of this match just being cold, because he can get a lot of heat by talking shit. And that, like, you couldn't really, unless you've been following New Japan, you wouldn't really know the whole thing with sudden death where he claims that he strengthened his super kicking foot with kicking down trees in the Canadian wilderness, but he's really just got something in his shoe, and nobody's been able to catch him on it.
Well, as Society Review says, that New Japan style is just spot to spot. But
he doesn't. No,
he
that's
doesn't.
not true. No, he doesn't watch.
I will say I just saw a clip where he did the bouncing on the ropes to hit the Hurricane Rana onto Josh Alexander, and then he didn't go straight to the spot. He like stalks him into the corner, and like lets it kind of marinate that he just hit this big move on Alexander as he's trying to sail to the corner, and then Phantasmo starts with strikes. Like he doesn't go straight to, hitting another big move. It strikes going straight into beating him up and stuff like that. So it's different. It's definitely not spot to spot. The guy knows what he's doing in the ring.
Yeah, and New Japan is not spot to spot. If you think that, then either you don't watch New Japan or you don't know what you're looking at. There's a total difference between the way they do matches over there and the way the Americans that watch it and try to copy it do it. It's just like you'd expect. If you were watching something and copying it, you're doing it with no soul or thought behind it. You're just repeating what you see, and you don't know why they're doing what they're doing in the first place.
I will say the as good as those matches were between Ospreay and Ricochet, you can tell how like choreographed and stuff that it was. That's kind of spot to spot. I can totally see what he's saying.
But those guys aren't New Japan wrestlers. They were there at the time, and Will Ospreay is now, which also unfortunately he hurt his neck and has to vacate his championship.
Will Ospreay's neck.
But at that time they were just like, guest on the tour doing crazy shit in the Super Juniors tournament, which you would want to do something to stand out, right? Like against the main event heavyweights. They work differently there. It's just a whole different thing, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Hold on. So anyway, instead of just getting beat cold in this match, like I said, I wish he had got some promo time to like get some heat on Alexander and get us like behind Alexander. But if you haven't been watching this and you're just watching the pay-per-view, you're like, I don't know who to cheer for with these guys. They're both vaguely heelish. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Because, I mean, he's coming out of a tag team. Alexander is coming out of a tag team with Ethan Page, right? So it's like, that's a heel team pretty much, right? But,
yeah.
And Phantasmo's a heel. So, there's no real clear direction. So if he could have gotten, like, instead of just having that get over match he had, if he had gotten some interview time, then he could have got people against him and for Alexander. He definitely would have been able to do that. Speaking of promos, we go to the Finn Juice and Tommy Dreamer Jr. promo back here. My note for this is boring. Next we have the Knockouts title match. I liked how Havoc was wearing Deonna Purrazzo like a backpack when she had the sleeper on, and while she was getting the sleeper put on her, she still had the presence of mind to brush her hair, because that's important. It wasn't even really in her face, but she still did it. So
for those that are listening in to the first time to a vet show, hairbrushing is a thing that he hates. And
while selling, if you're selling, and yeah, it's one thing if you're on the offense and you want to brush the hair out of your eyes, but if you're supposed to be taking offense and you're just like,
Roman Reigns is the worst person that does this, and you should watch when he's in any kind of lock. He'll slowly just like wipe the hair out of his face, and then there's the chin lock counter. So the vet is full of a lot of fun things here at the Impact Attack. If you've never checked it out before.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody here today. Keep the chat nice and lively. And if you have any further questions on the chin locks or the hairbrushing, please right there.
At Opinion Haver, any and everywhere on social media.
Right. If you don't want to do it here, if you want to do it privately, it's okay. So I don't want to get into this match too granularly. I don't want to, I've already talked bad enough about the women's matches today. So I'll just say this, I'll be constructive. I'll show you how I can be positive and constructive without hurting anybody's feelings. Like when you're big, like Havoc, okay, that's just the way I'm going to put it. Don't throw 4 or 5 shots. Just have them sell 1 shot. She threw 5 forearms in a row right before she was going to like shoot Deonna off or something. It's just like, boom, hit her with 1, let her stagger to the ropes, then do the shoot off spot. But just don't, like, if you're big, don't kill your size. Let them sell you. That's the whole point. Oh yeah, pulling up tights during the match. That's a classic, but they've graduated from that to hairbrushing. This ended with an armbar tap out. Great. Super. Then we get to a 6-man no one wanted. Here's where the chin clock comes in. All right. The match is 19 minutes, 56 seconds, which by the time remaining in the show, as I'm watching this, I can already see will be longer than the main event. At 9:45,
because Tony paid for that.
Right. At 9:45, Carl got a chin lock on Juice. At 13:26, Doc gets a chin lock on Finlay. Okay, so this is a long match with only 2 chin locks. So, but we didn't really need them. I guess I'll give the grade like a C, only because they didn't sit in them for too long. This is the thing, like if you're not going to use the chin lock for a long period of time, there's no point in even really putting it on, right?
Yeah, because you only use the chin lock when you're really blown up and you need to rest.
Well, like I said, they do. No, they might. You're not supposed to. But technically, at 10 minutes and 25 seconds, Carl countered. Juice Robinson was running at him, and he sort of countered with like a standing chin lock. I don't know what else you want to call it, but I'm gonna give him a pass on that. I'm not gonna count that one. So Stryker on the commentary.
What you gonna do, brother, when Chinlockomania runs wild on you? Hacha, hacha.
Well, you're gonna sit there for a second, then you're gonna fight your way up. That's what you'll do. Stryker said on commentary, and I quote, "calling spots and running traffic."
Man,
so why don't we just say all the guys' real names and everything while we're at it? Like, why are we even trying to promote the illusion that this is real even for a little bit? Like, if you're gonna slip up, this is what I mean when I say these announcers get too comfortable, because then this shit happens. Like, it's one thing if he's like if he's in his comfortability and he's like dancing on the edge, But then, like, when you cross over and say a phrase like calling spots, if you pulled a guy aside on the street who's a wrestling fan and say, hey, like a casual fan, not like the people like in the chat or whatever who know better, like a smart fan or whatever. But like to the average person, what does calling spots mean? What does that even mean? What does it mean in the real world outside of wrestling? Like, do you call spots at your job? Like, is that even a phrase you could use? You could say directing traffic.
I said, I'm going to slide this pepperoni pizza in this box. Watch me.
Right.
In the box and cut it.
It's like, okay, I'll slide the pepperoni. You close the box. Like, okay, let's practice it. And then you slap your leg when the box closes. When the box closes, you slap your leg. So that's what I mean. Like, it's one thing to say running traffic, directing traffic, because if you're talking about a team effort and there's one captain on the side that's telling the other guys what to do, that's a way you can legitimately call spots as a shoot in front of the fans. Because if you tell your partners what to do, then and they do it, that's just you calling a spot, right? Like,
would that be called being a ring general?
It would be, but you wouldn't call it that on commentary.
I mean, Stryker
right?
might.
He might. Well,
Look
he
at
has.
Kenny Omega being that ring general, calling those spots with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Yeah. Well, one of them said it. I can't remember who, but it was either him or D'Lo Brown said it. So we've already done that. But I'm just saying I'm going to point this shit out when I hear it. And my only other note is that Eddie Edwards tried to do that. I don't know what the move is called. I would call it the Kofi Kingston because I don't remember anybody else doing it before him, although I'm sure somebody did. But like, you know, the spot where you're in the corner and then you jump between the first and second ropes, like, and slide out kind of like a snake. And then he would do the pendulum thing where he would like kick up, like he'd swing and kick his feet up as they ran in the corner at that same time, right? That was I call that spot the Kofi Kingston. So Eddie Edwards tried to do that thing where he slid through the ropes, but he was too fat, so it didn't really work. Society reviews, I miss Madison Rain. You have to put slash sarcasm whenever you're doing stuff like that, because people are going to actually believe that you wanted to hear Madison Rain ever talk. So then we go to the six-way moose. That's what I'm going to call it. That's all that really matters. Some things in this company never change, right? Since day one, since 2002, this entire match was just a spot conveyor belt. It was just guys feeding in, taking moves. It was like the shotgun finish like 3 times, like on a loop, you know. It was like Groundhog Day. Like, people just kept feeding in for moves and rolling out, and there was no match to speak of. In fairness, I don't know how to put together a 6-way singles match. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, where do you even start? Where do you even start with that? But
how many 6-mans have you ever been in?
0. I don't know how. And I don't think anybody else knows how. The best thing that anybody comes up with is have the other 4 guys selling on the outside while you do your like mini match inside, and then trade off at certain points.
It's like a triple threat. They're all just going to pair off and end up being like individual singles matches, like going on and everything like that, with like the focus being the 2 guys in the ring, which, I mean, we all knew the Moose was going to win. It's all been set up.
We all hoped, but it could have been, it could have been, just as easily been, Sami Callihan. They've been planting seeds for Sami Callihan, and again, we'll see that later, but, like, I could see them going with that just so that they don't have to deal with Moose. You know,
yeah,
that's true. Just, I've been wrong so far. I didn't even think they would go this far, but they did. So I hope I keep being wrong. I'll keep putting it out there that they're not going with Moose and hope that they do the opposite. You know, I'll use the reverse psychology to take it as far as I can, but yes, Moose does win here. And in fairness, because, you know, Colin, I'm nothing if not fair. I have to, if I'm going to point out these other things that people are doing, you know, I can't just be picking on them. So I'm going to say something about Moose as a criticism that he should address. And that is that I am not a fan of him wearing the earring in the match. Like, I think he should take that out before the match. I don't think anybody should have face jewelry or anything like grabbable in a match. Not only because if this was real, why wouldn't I just grab that and tear it out?
I mean,
But
Hardy takes his out. I mean,
yeah, but even besides that, something could happen in the match accidentally, and it could tear it out. So for either reason,
was playing football. Like we were playing tag football one time, or like tackle football one time, and a kid got his ear ripped out because I tackled him and like grabbed him up high, and my finger got caught, and it just whoop, pulled it right out. I mean,
yeah. So just minimize your own risk as much as possible. That's what you want. Wrestling's hard enough, and dangerous enough, even when you do everything right, because it could be something. It could be like you do something at the gym. Like, let's say you're lifting and you just trying to get that last rep, and then you get it up, and then, you think you're fine, you feel fine, but that you just didn't realize that last fiber is hanging on by a thread. Then when you get in the match and do something like a lockup, then you could tear your pec or whatever. It's like those are the kind of things that happen anyways, even if you don't do anything wrong. So like diving outside the ring and stuff like that, that's rarely where you see anybody get hurt, ironically enough. It's usually the stupid little things that people don't even notice. So
like trying to climb in the ring and just blow all your quads.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Because we know Vince McMahon goes hard on leg day. So, of course, he's going to blow it out just trying to get in the ring. That's exactly a perfect illustration of what I just said. How do you think that happened? You think Vince McMahon had two perfectly normal quads and then just got in the ring and they just tore? No. He was probably in the gym working extra hard, and then he tore them. So it's like, that's what happens. So you certainly don't need any extra shit like body jewelry, getting snagged on something and ripping holes in your face. You don't want that. So just be aware of all that stuff.
Is Moose the Cesaro of Impact, where it's like they haven't pulled the trigger on a guy who you can tell has like all the potential in the world, has all the skill in the ring in the world. And they say Vince really didn't like Cesaro because of the whole English accent, but here are Society reviews, which I was already thinking this thought before he said it, is, do you think it's because of his lisp and his mic that they kind of are frowned upon that, but they're not really going to come out and be like, oh, well, his promos aren't all that good because of his lisp. But I personally feel like he's like the Cesaro of Impact, like a guy that can do everything, and they just don't pull the trigger on him.
I don't really know what their reasoning is. I can't be sure about that. I will say that Cesaro does have like a slight charisma problem, but that's nothing that can't be worked around. You know what I mean? Like if somebody is good at lots of things but not one thing, then quit making them do that one thing and then trying to blame shit on them when when shit doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. I'm just really tired of people making excuses, like in companies, for why people don't get over, when the company should be looking at every one of their talents, who they're paying, by the way, who we didn't, you signed them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they asked for the job and then you just had to give it to them. You know what I mean? You signed them, so why don't you want to make money with them? I don't want to hear these excuses about, oh, well, this person doesn't speak good English. Well, then don't have them speak English. What's the problem? I mean, there's lots of people that don't speak English. There's lots of people that don't do good promos that do speak English. So what's, you know what I'm saying? What I just say about Eddie Edwards in his promo, like earlier. It's like, who wants to hear Eddie Edwards cut a promo? He speaks perfect English. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just don't do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what the reasoning is for Moose. Moose is not as established, a skilled a wrestler as Cesaro. I'm just saying, I'm not even talking about the talent of Moose. I'm just saying, look at Moose. He's cool. And the lisp is part of it. It's like, you can use that. You can use that lisp in a way, as long as everything he's saying is like serious and good. If he lisps while he's saying it, it's fine. And then that can give somebody else some shit to try to talk about him. And then if he just beats them down for it, then whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's good heat for a heel. You wouldn't want a super babyface Moose, because then the lisp people can make fun of it. You don't want your babyface made fun of, but you can make fun of a heel. I just think that the important thing is the image of Moose. You know, even if he was a bad wrestler, which I don't think he's a bad wrestler, but he's certainly not like a super mega refined wrestler. Like, he hasn't even been doing it that long, you know, like comparatively. But it doesn't matter. Like, you see a guy like that, and it's like, shit, this guy needs to be in the wrestling business. We need to push him. We need to do this with him. We need to do that with him. And then we can figure the other stuff out later. It just so happens that he had a good aptitude for this. And when he has matches, he's not embarrassing himself.
That's true.
So that's it. And that's all I have to say about Under Siege.
Right. So I guess so that's it for Under Siege. Since we are on a crunch time, I will just edit all of our commercial stuff.
Well, we need a new ad anyways, man. We can't play that old shit no more. So don't worry about that till we get a new ad. We got to stop directing people to Podbean here. Okay, you know the ads. Broster's Coffee. We got Broster's Coffee and Patreon
and Stevie Richards Fitness.
And
thank you for supporting all of us and the shows.
Yeah.
Now it's time for your main event.
Yeah. We don't mean to sound dismissive. Those are all the things, and you know them all. You all, everyone in this chat. Everyone in this chat drinks coffee, works out with resistance bands, and is a subscriber on Patreon. What's the point?
Bullet points for the rest of the show. So that's what Canada Spaceman wants.
Nah, well, we don't give him what he wants because he fucking liked Madison Rain. So Canada Spaceman's got heat with me right now.
Oh, damn, Canada Spaceman.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into depth on all these matches, these Impact matches.
Opening match of Impact Wrestling from Thursday night. We've got Rohit Raju with Mahabali Shera versus Jake something. You know, we've been kind of seeing this feud boil here on Impact Wrestling, but what I really want to focus on, not necessarily this match, but what happened after the match, because here it is, Jake something. He wins the match and he's beating up Mahabali Shera, but Raju just doesn't even care. Raju just lets him get his ass kicked. He's just like, whatever. Just yelling at him from he's calling spots from the top.
Yes, he's calling spots. Well, yeah, he's like, hey, stop, hey, you know, what are you doing? You know.
Well, we forgot about the olive oil.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, Zordos olive oil.
Zordos olive oil.
Get Zordos olive oil.
Put it on your nipples.
Yes. Well, I mean, who are we to say what they do once they get the olive oil?
Oh no, it's actually good for you. I used to make jokes that we would put the Zordos olive oil on my nipples when I was with Ray, and then when my son was born, the nurse literally brought a little thing of olive oil in and told my girlfriend to if your nipples get sore, you can rub this olive oil on your nipples. And I'm like, see, everybody made fun of me for wanting to rub olive oil on my nipples, but it's a true medical thing. Okay, so.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Put the shit on your nipples, then put a shirt on, and then it's going to soak through your shirt? You're walking around with these two dark spots on your shirt, and everyone's going to be like, what's wrong with you? Are you lactating?
No, it's olive oil. Do you need some for your pasta?
Yeah.
Squeeze it in there.
So, yeah, this was... Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Decay on being kicked out of the opening match for a change. Like, this is, I think, the first time that we've been watching that they haven't opened the show. So that's cool. Yeah, so I'll start with the post-match, like you said. Like, this was weird because it was too long. It felt like the kind of length of something that should be like a main event angle. And instead it was like the first match, and I don't know, I'm not aware of a history between these guys that where this would really need to... I think the history came in earlier when he kind of bumped into Shera on the outside, and then all of a sudden now he wants to like mangle him. This is kind of like what you would do to end an angle, not start one. It seems like now they're going to start. So the next thing is like, oh, now it's going to be Shera versus Jake something. Well, Jake something kind of just beat the shit out of him. So what's left?
We saw that. We saw something versus Shera like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Did we?
Yes. They wrestled. They wrestled like 3 or 4 weeks ago, something like that.
Well, then hopefully this does end it. But I want to talk real quick about just Rohit. I mean, I said he was a good worker, and I was talking about guys like El Phantasmo workers, you know. They like you see how in the start of this match, right? He takes one tackle from Jake something and then just rolls to the outside and walks it off. And then he uses Shira right there for some interference, like to nothing really happens, but he kind of like, as he's going after him, he's kind of like bumps into Shira because he's standing there, which you want to use the guy. If the guy's going to be out there, you're going to want to use him. You don't want to just have him stand there. So getting the other guy involved and just letting people register the tackle, because here's what happens. Everybody who's a wrestling fan has seen a million tackle spots, right? Like we all know what's coming, right? Tackle, drop down, leapfrog maybe, or just go straight into like some other spot or whatever. So you're already just conditioned to action, 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 action. Now in your brain, you can process the moves that you're seeing, but you don't really get to fully process those things. So by the time you get to leapfrog or whatever's next, hip toss or whatever move, you've forgotten about that tackle. Because it's inconsequential. There's already action going after the tackle, right? So it's like the tackle, in essence, that's what, when people say this doesn't mean anything or make it mean something, the tackle has been forgotten in the order of events. So it's like we've already moved from the tackle before people could even appreciate the tackle. You've already moved on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and it gives the excitement, but in a match where pretty much everything's going to be exciting and movement, or in a business where everything is nothing but nonstop exciting and movement and jumping and flipping and all these other cool athletic things that they do, like that tackle doesn't really mean anything. Here, if Rohit takes one tackle from a guy much bigger than him, like Jake something, and then he rolls out, now in your mind, what's happening is you're thinking, oh shit, he just got tackled. Like subconsciously, you're like, okay, he got tackled. He had enough off of that one tackle. That must have been some tackle. Or conversely, a smart fan might be thinking like, or not a smart fan, but like another level of this thinking is, you took the tackle and it's like, what? You're rolling out of the ring after just a tackle? Everybody takes a tackle. This guy's a pussy. Boo, boo. And that's heat for Rohit Raju. That's the psychology. So this is a breakdown of like, this is the psychology behind why we do everything. There's supposed to be reasons for everything. But like I was talking about with New Japan and America and stuff, they're copying things they've seen. They've all seen the shoulder tackle spot, so they just do a shoulder tackle spot. Rohit's saying, let me sell this shoulder tackle and get the tackle part over, and in essence get Jake something over. So
I want to say, I told you a couple weeks ago you were going to love watching Rohit work. I mean, I wish you were watching this when he had that X Division title, because you would have really loved the stuff that he was doing on social media, like waking up, having coffee with his belt, having breakfast in bed with his belt. Like he understands it now. Like he gets it, and it's awesome to watch, because you don't see guys working like doing heelish tactics like that. I mean, you might see the Miz do some chicken shit heel stuff like that and really sell some things, but I mean,
well,
he's the man.
He's hampered by his TV production stuff. Like he's got to meet the times and stuff like that. So his matches on TV, I'm sure the Miz is great at house shows and stuff like in his matches, but like on TV, he's just another guy because he doesn't have the freedom to do all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But he knows what he's doing. But Rohit, I missed out. I mean, when I was watching Rohit, it was Desi Hit Squad. He didn't really stand out in that. It was kind of boring to me. I just didn't really pay attention. So I haven't seen like his single stuff, but I'm a fan now. Unfortunately, like right as the match should have been wrapping up, like Rohit did a bump and feed for Jake's comeback, but he had never really got a significant set of heat on Jake. So the whole idea of a bump and feed comeback is you've been kicking the other guy's ass, and the audience is getting antsy and they want to see him fight back and get all that shit back on you, right, as the heel. So if you never have done that, then you don't need to give the guy a comeback like that. You know what I mean? If he's been on top most of the time and Rohit slips over here with some kind of like, some pin or something, right? Which that explains why Jake something's mad enough and strong enough to get over on Shira. So if you're doing that, you just don't need to give that guy that huge full comeback. So this match was not quite 100% in terms of psychology, but I wanted to point out both those aspects to show you how like things can be different in the same match, as far as that stuff goes.
Well, we've got we go backstage. We've got Taylor Wilde who's gunning for that Knockouts title. And Tennille Dashwood, Caleb with a K, Taylor's like, hey, let's do this knockout tag titles. Let's go for those now. Like, I know you've got your sights set on the championship, but I want those tag titles. And then apparently Caleb K is stalking Taylor Wilde as she tells him to stop FaceTiming me. Leave me alone. You creep.
I think Spaceman is stalking Taylor Wilde too.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, he's probably looking at a picture of Taylor Wilde right now. But we're not done being backstage here, Vet. We've got Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace are very upset.
Wait, I wanted to mention. Well, it applies to this segment too. But like, again, the music is playing throughout the entire promo, right?
Yeah.
So what if we did that?
Okay, I got you. Hang on.
Can we?
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's try it. Okay, so then yeah, back from the break, we got Jellering on some sort of velvet love seat, and then I realize who Jordan Grace reminds me of finally.
Oh, Scott Steiner.
No.
Oh.
No, like just not an insult, just an observation.
Okay.
The late Vern Troyer, kind of sounds like him and looks like him in the face a little bit. Obviously not. She's a much bigger stature than the late Vern Troyer, but that's basically who it reminds me of. What about you? What did you think of this here?
I'm not a big fan of Jordan Grace. I feel like they rib her a lot of times with what they're doing with her, like making her. They literally won the tag titles for like a week or two, and then like, immediately lose them right back to the people they won it from. They stick her with Jazz on this other stuff. It's like, I don't know if they're just waiting for her contract to run out so they could just be like, all right, you go on and do whatever you want to do. Or, it's just, I've just never been a big fan of Jordan Grace. And it has a lot to do with the shit that she does outside of the ring. The don't come into my DMs and and respect my body and all this stuff. But I'm going to put these thirst trap pictures out there. And what do you think's going to happen? Like the dudes that,
don't disrespect me for free, but go to my OnlyFans.
Yeah, go to my OnlyFans.
Pay to disrespect me.
Or this and that. Like, the Never Touch the Titty Committee dudes are all going to come out, and they're going to say those things, and they're going to be lecherous, and it's going to be like, I was listening to the Busted Open the other day, and they were talking about Jade Cargill tried to do a thing with fans, and some dude came in on the Q&A and was just like, I want to lick your abs. And she's just like, laughs it off or whatever. But, dude, you're being a fucking creep. Like I get the creepiness of it, but
don't be on the internet if you don't want to run into creeps.
That's true, but like when you put your picture out there like that and then complain that people are salivating over it, you did that yourself. Like,
so Spaceman, no, I don't mean just the way she phrased words. I mean her actual voice pitch and her face. That's what I mean. She looks like Vern Troy. All right, so. Was that jabroni shit where we just played that music under our whole conversation? Like, would you guys like? Did that sound stupid to you guys?
I
want to know what you really think. No joke answers. Like we all know you guys are super hilarious and geniuses in the chat, but like I just want your honest opinion. Do you think that sounds like? Does that get old? Does that sound like professional where two guys are just talking over music like that for no reason? Is that what you'd want to hear every time? I'm just curious to hear your thoughts.
If it is, we could just play music the whole show and just talk over it.
No, I'm not going to do. No, I don't care if they do like it. We're not doing it. But the point is, I want to make the point that I don't think it should be done on Impact either. That's you can go ahead and cut it now. So yeah.
Well, we go out to the ring because Kara Hogan is taking on Tennille Dashwood, and Tennille Dashwood wins. Was this another? What did you think of this match? I can't.
All right, I'm not okay. Before I say anything about that, Spaceman, I'm not talking about the quality of whether you like the song itself or not, or whether you would listen to it in the car. I'm asking, is any music underneath people trying to talk? Is that jabroni song. Level? No, stop it. No, cut it. Then you shouldn't have said it.
I was gonna play Kenny Omega's theme.
No, don't play that. Especially don't play that while people are talking. Yeah, that was my whole point. Like, does that sound professional? Is that what people do when they're interviewing? You know, when they're on talk shows and shit. Does the band keep? Do the Roots keep playing when Jimmy Fallon has his guest on the couch? You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, I think I've made my point. But anyways, so let's go.
No, YouTube will shut us down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can you play music at? Yeah, sure.
I'll beatbox.
Yeah, we could also ban Canada Spaceman if he wants to get too cute. So yeah, this Tennille Dashwood is better with better talent. So like Kiera's a little bit better talent than, I don't know, Susan or whatever the hell Tennille's been having to work with lately. But when you're pinning somebody or when you're getting pinned, so this is a message for Hogan, when you're getting pinned, brother, keep your shoulders down. Just keep your shoulders down. Like if you know it's the finish, make sure that because it looks bad when your shoulders are kind of up and the ref's just still counting, right? So, yeah, after the match was there's a schmoz with every other knockout came out. I guess Havoc is best friends with Tennille and Taylor now.
Now she is for that situation.
All of a sudden, yeah.
I just lost to Deanna Purrazzo, so I'm gonna help you guys out.
Right. Well, it'd be one thing if it was like, I just wanted to get a piece of her and I don't care about you. But she specifically was like, kind of like hugging them and stuff afterwards. So they were doing that whole thing, which is like, okay, so I guess you're besties.
And Decay makes an appearance in the second match.
Woo. Yep. So yeah, they come out, they come out too, like just to stand there. And it's like, oh, I guess they're besties with, I guess Havoc, Decay, Tennille and Taylor, all best friends.
All of them. They're just hanging out in the back. We got Gia Miller is with Finn Juice. They will be defending their titles against Madman Fulton Ace. Madman Fulton and Ace Austin.
Wait.
Nope.
First, we find out that Jordan Grace went to get her match and it ended up having to be with Rachel. So that's the tease for later. Like, oh my God, shocking swerve. The partners have to fight each other. So we're already doing this gimmick. Okay. And then we also get a package announcing the arrival of Satoshi Kojima to Impact Wrestling coming soon. So I don't know if this is covered in the notes there, but this, I guess, is the supposed more New Japan talent coming to Impact that they were talking about. But here's the deal.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk about Kojima and have bread. I'm just gonna eat bread the whole entire time that we talk about Satoshi.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, no disrespect to Kojima. Kojima's he's like a decorated wrestling legend, and I like him. And he's gonna be good for Impact, and he's gonna have good matches for Impact. But like, if New Japan is trying to get, maybe they're just, I assume from their end they're like putting their toe in the water because of their dealings with this company in the past. Even though it's a whole different company now. But like, I don't think they want to give like the real good stars. But again, this is not going to, like, when people who are interested in New Japan and haven't seen it, when they want to see New Japan, they want to see New Japan now. Like the guys that are now. They want to see Okada.
We need Tama Tonga to come over into Impact and beat some dudes up, right?
Yeah, they don't need that. They don't need the guys who are already from America, like Finn Juice. They don't need the guys that are like Kojima's already had his run. You know, he's been the champion and all that stuff. But like now, this would be like trying to get somebody excited to watch Monday Night Raw because Jeff Hardy's on it. Like this is not the same. You're not, what you get when you watch Monday Night Raw is not going to be the Jeff Hardy you remember from, 2000, whatever, right? It's not that. This would be a bad sell now. And I'm not saying Kojima's a bad sell because Kojima's a million times the person, performer, and athlete that Jeff Hardy ever was. But I'm just saying, like, that's not going to get people excited because that was like the previous generation. We want to see guys from the new generation, but I don't want to see guys from the new generation sully themselves by going to Impact. So it's a dilemma, right? It's a dilemma.
Kojima overindulges himself in bread and not alcohol like Jeff Hardy. So there's a huge difference. You wouldn't want Jay White to come over?
I don't want him anywhere near this shit. I don't want him getting hurt working with people of this caliber. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like, as good as it would, like, I enjoy seeing El Phantasmo here, but that's with trepidation, because I don't want anything to happen to him, and he's lowering his reputation by working with these people, trying to raise their reputation. You know what I mean? So, but it makes sense for him because he is Canadian, right? So, like I said, it's different for those international talents that are signed with New Japan. It's easier for them to do spots with Impact and American companies and stuff like AEW. But because, like, you know, it just makes sense geographically. But as a fan, you like, I've never seen New Japan. I'm excited to see New Japan. Oh, this is New Japan? I don't know. I guess they're not going to see like the real top guys. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, well, I mean, that's an interesting idea. Maybe a little mini New Japan invasion. Would you be down for something like that, Vet?
No, just no. I want New Japan to just stay away from Impact. I want them to stay away from Impact and AEW and WWE and everything. I don't want them touching anything. If they're gonna make an Impact in America, I want them to do it kind of on their own. But the ways that they've tried to do it in the past has been, like I said, they do like a half-ass version. They do it with a lot of non-Japanese wrestlers and non-top guys, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, why would I watch that? You know, that's not real New Japan. It's just not. So I don't know, but you know, we'll see what they do. I mean, I'm just coming off the dome here. I don't know. I haven't really thought about this very deeply. But let's go past the Finjuice promo, because that's another, you know, speaking of disappointing New Japan stuff, we don't need to hear another one of their promos that goes way too long and they don't talk about anything interesting.
Well, we can go back to the ring because we got VSK versus Petey Williams. Petey Williams goes over in this match. You're so excited to talk about this.
I am. VSK, last time we saw him was in the ring with El Phantasmo, and I didn't think it was that bad. This guy, now that I'm watching it in this match with Petey Williams, this guy wrestles like he's in an AEW Dark Women's match. He is like, everything he does is slow and weak. It's just pathetic. Like, I can't even believe this guy gets on TV calling himself a pro wrestler moving like that. It's awful. Fucking awful. You can see the gears turning in his head trying to remember, like, what's next? What do I do? What's the spot? What's the spot?
What's worse, Luther or VSK? Did you see the Luther spot?
Yes. I'm legitimately trying to think which one's worse. Luther was blown up.
Literally 2 seconds into the match.
Still, that's still an excuse. I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up. People are going to say Luther looks worse, obviously, but he's also a fat old man. VSK is like a young man in shape who's supposed to be like getting his shot, hopefully getting signed by somebody. And this is the kind of shit that he does. With a veteran like Petey Williams, you can't do better than this. I hope he watches this match back and is ashamed of himself, how he looked in it. Because he looked like he was underwater. Like, some of those strikes that he was throwing were so fucking slow and weak, like they wouldn't break an egg. It's just awful.
You know, Ben complains sometimes about, like, the taped AEW shows, like how they're taped and they could go back. These are taped. So why isn't anybody being like, all right, cut, like Tommy or Don or anybody that's like watching this and be like, all right, cut, hey, VSK. Like, what's going on? Like, what can we and have that conversation with him and be like, all right, from the top, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back into this, you know, and run it all back over from the top. Like,
only thing I can think of is maybe they feel like if they stopped his match mid-match and tried to redo it, that it would end up worse. Because now you've gotten in his head. Like, it'd be better to just let him finish his rotten match out and then talk to him afterwards. But I mean, if you guys can see, like, I don't know, again, I asked earlier in the chat, like, can you see the difference between a worker like El Phantasmo, the way he does things? And this is exactly the opposite of what I'm talking about. Can you see how slow and bad VSK was in this match, if you saw the match at all? I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. But yeah, so Stryker on commentary thanks Petey Williams for everything he's done for our sport. Which is a nice sentiment, but unfortunately the truth of that is that all he's really done for the sport is given everyone else a move to kick out of.
Yep. Fucking Canadian. Destroyer. Why do they do it? But
man,
you know
remember the
what?
first time you saw the Canadian Destroyer back in 2002 or
So
whatever,
fucking
3,
amazing.
whatever?
Just like
And
the
you're
super
like,
kick, when
wow.
Shawn Michaels was the only person doing the super kick.
Yeah, wow. Well, here's the thing. With a super kick, if a guy kicks out of that, you could say, oh, maybe the guy didn't kick him, get all of it. You get all the Canadian Destroyer or you don't get it. There's no, you missed a little bit. You know what I mean? So there's no excuse.
So I'm gonna ask you this: what prompted Rich Swann to come back at Under Siege? Why would he want to come back after what
Well,
happened to him?
because his friend Willie Mack was
Getting beat up by Morrissey?
yeah. And they preloaded his music for his save. So he kind of had to, right? Like he probably wasn't going to save Willie Mack, but since the music was preloaded, he kind of had to, right?
So Morrissey then interrupts Swan.
That's an understatement.
Continues attack. We get all of that. They fight into the back, and then we go. We're
Wait,
back in.
No, we're not going to gloss over that, and I'll tell you why. Because we made a big deal about the music, right?
Oh, that's true.
So
yeah.
while Rich Swann is sitting here, the music is playing during his promo, and he's cutting his promo. Here comes Morrissey with a boot, lays Rich Swann out like right off screen, right? So hits him with a boot. What do you think happens? The music stops.
Music stops.
Oh, we can't be playing music after a boot. Like we can
Don't
play it while
music
this
during the sell.
Yeah, as long as a guy's talking, you can play the theme. But as soon as he gets booted, we got to stop. This is serious, right? It's like, and the girl, what's that interviewer's name? I don't remember her name.
Miller.
Gia Miller. She's freaking out and screaming, like, "Get security here!" Like this is an extremely common occurrence in wrestling when a guy gets attacked backstage. It's just as common as getting a plate of catering. It's a guy gets attacked backstage, but she's acting like this is the first time it's ever happened. So these are those like inconsistencies in the production of these shows that I want to point out. It's like this is why this is not going to be a top tier product. You know, people may not look at us as a top tier podcast, Colin. I know that's shocking to believe. We may not pull the numbers of like
top tier in their hearts.
Right. A Jericho or somebody like that, or a Keeping It 100. But every podcast I do, I'm trying to aim to put on a performance that will sound as good when compared to those shows. I'm not competing with these nobody podcasts. I'm competing with the top podcasts. And that's how Impact needs to think. And they need to look at those little details so that when somebody gives Impact a chance, don't give them any excuses whatsoever to change the channel, to delete it off your DVR, to not watch even the highlights. Don't give them a reason. Do everything the best you can, because you need the people to watch. You need the eyeballs. Otherwise, what are you doing?
I always equate it to when you're out there on the basketball court and you shoot that shot. You're like Jordan, Kobe. You're not out there like Sean Bradley.
Exactly.
You're gonna be the best one. Like, yeah, people don't get it sometimes. Like,
and look what Hunter says. Such simple fixes. Like the stuff I'm talking about doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost him any money to not play the show's theme while people are doing promos. It doesn't cost you any money to turn the lights up a little bit more. You know what I mean? In certain instances, it's just there's some things that are free. Spaceman says, was this Gia Miller looks like he's really focused on female looks, it seems.
Yeah.
Looks like a kid that discovers her mom's makeup kit. I guess her mom is probably Kimberly. So anyway.
I once dunked on a guy and I was like, Greg Oden, son.
Oh yes.
Yeah, remember the great career that Greg Oden had. TJP, we can go to Swingers Palace now, is on a roll, and we've got Fallah Bahh, who's dressed like a Swingerella to pay off his debt.
Did we see this happen at any point, or he just shows up like this? Maybe I have to watch all the supplemental materials on the internet to see how Fallah Bahh ended up here, but I missed it.
And then we've got TJP says he wants his partner back. Enter Petey Williams, who wants to set up a match between those two against himself and Josh Alexander. Decay, we get Decay in and out, and then we get a brief confrontation with Hernandez.
Yeah. So TJP had to roll a hard 8 to save Fallah Bahh from his fate of wearing a dress, and he did. And then Decay. Finally, we get some teleportation here.
Yeah.
Guys, just snap their fingers and teleport out the room. This is totally real. This is exactly what we want. We need teleportation in our wrestling show.
We do.
Oh, you didn't like that?
No, teleportations.
He must have missed that.
No,
I was talking about the Society Reviews was booing me probably about the Kimberly comment
or my Greg Oden joke. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe that was. Oh, maybe that was it. Okay. You should have said Greg Ostertag. That would have been even more. You picked the wrong Greg for your joke.
Oh man, yeah, because nobody probably remembers Greg Oden now. We've got Moose coming out to the Impact Zone. Right
off the bat. Let me just stop you right there. Okay, teleportation, Moose. See how you've now associated him with this foolishness? Like we're trying to be serious. We're trying to show a guy. We're trying to show a guy like Moose, like coming out looking like $8 billion. Okay. And then he's coming right off the heels of teleportation. So now you want me to buy Moose. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. Like if you never watched this show before, you turn it on, you see Swingers Palace, you see a teleportation, then you see Moose. You're immediately going to think Moose is a clown because he's on the same show as this teleportation you just saw.
Never feel bad about terrible jokes because they always make me laugh, and that's the only thing that matters. He runs down a list of names that Kenny Omega has defeated, including Okada, Jericho, and Moxley. He's a different evil. He starts making some Greek mythology analogies. Out comes Don Callis and Kenny. Callis putting over Moose like you should. I mean, that's what you do in these promos, right? You got to put over your opponent so that when eventually you do lose to him, it's not like you buried the guy and then lost to a guy that you said was less than or whatnot. You're putting the guy over, making him look good. And then Callis tells him that he couldn't even win a title in Ring of Honor. Wow, they're dropping names of other promotions now, which is kind of funny. Are we going to see Kenny make it to Ring of Honor?
No. They're the smart fans love that. They love when you acknowledge other companies, right?
Yeah,
they learned that. They learned that they loved that back in ECW when Paul Heyman did it.
Oh man, and then so as they're basically going back and forth. As decorated as an athlete as he is, all it takes is a one-winged angel. Moose wants to see him try. Here comes the big LG, and then Callahan in for the save.
Yeah, it's the Good Brothers come down, and I'm like, what are they going to do? Moose only has one chin. They can't both put a lock on it. You know what I mean? So, that was weird.
WWE has zombies. AEW has aliens. Impact has demons. Ring of Honor has Danhausen. There we go. That's
well,
all
look,
you need.
Okay, but I want to point out one thing here. The zombies thing is stupid. No one's saying anything different. We all know the demons and teleportation shit is stupid. No one's saying anything different. Chris Statlander claims she's an alien. Is there any proof of this? I mean, I don't watch Being the Elite. They might have had some proof, but I'm just saying, like,
on the nose.
It's okay. It's okay if a crazy person thinks they're something that they're not. That's okay in wrestling. But if you actually are trying to say that yes, and you've got things, you've got footage of her on other planets, then yeah, then that's a problem. It's okay to claim you're something, and just be wrong. That's fine. Or crazy, right? You're crazy.
Crazy like Moose, because he was very upset with Sammy, telling him he didn't need his help. But Sammy says he's tired of Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers running over his company. His company.
Well, this would be great. He says
Anthem's company.
He says no matter who wins, he's coming for what's his, right? And I'm like, okay, great. As long as you don't lose it to a woman again. Yeah, so I feel like I should try that. You were distracted by the chat. I feel like I should try my chinlock joke again. Do you think I should try, or did you get it the first time? I said
try your chinlock.
I said the Good Brothers came down to fight, but Moose only has one chin. Like, how are they? Okay,
both.
All right.
I get
it. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't bomb.
Society Reviews booing that one. We've got Rachel Ellering versus Jordan Grace. They do the shake hand spot. They're friends. This is a friendly competition here in the Impact Zone. And Rachel Ellering wins. Again, more burying of Jordan Grace.
Or putting over Rachel Ellering, the superstar, right? There was some real shitty shit in this match I don't want to go into. That's for them to do on tape review if they do such a thing, or if they just get right out of the ring and be like, "Yep, best ever," and move on to the next thing. I don't know. But yeah, so they're already sort of, like I said, moving towards a breakup or a friction thing here. These partners that just, which
got together.
In a sense, that's okay, because it kind of was like Jazz picked this person to be her partner. It's not like they were old friends or something. So if you were ever going to do that, it's, this would be a way to do it. I just don't think they're going to skillfully or believably do it. I think it'll be kind of rushed. But in that sense, you kind of have to rush it. So I don't know. We'll just have to. I'm not interested in it either way, but it is an opportunity for creative that you don't often see, where you got like, hey, we're partners that get along, even though we really just kind of got slapped together out of our own control, right? It wasn't like, a common interest or whatever, and then you win the titles right away, and now that can cause things. It could be an interesting storyline if done right.
You would think Jordan would be a little bit better in the ring with her psychology and stuff like that, because she's with Jonathan Gresham. So you think like they would talk about wrestling and all this other stuff. Clearly, wrestling prowess is not sexually transmitted. Brian Myers. Well, let me put it this way: if you ever call me Bad Moon Colin, I'm gonna attack you backstage. Don't ever do it, Vet. Don't ever do it. I will find you and I will attack you.
Deal.
And that's what happened backstage. Brian Myers does not like to be called Bad Mood Brian, and he attacks Matt Cardona. Can we move on to this main event?
It looked like just real quick. It just kind of looked like Myers was, the way they did this promo. Myers was like in the hall talking to the camera or whatever, and then I may have missed it, but it kind of looked like Cardona just haplessly wandered into the hall accidentally, and then just got jumped by Brian Myers. So that was kind of funny. Like if that is how it played out, it looks like he just grabbed a bystander or something. It just so happened to be the person he wanted to attack. We can go the main event.
All right. To it. Main event here, as we have Ace Austin and Madman Fulton versus Finn Juice for the titles here.
Oh, that was the team with the ace that won.
Yes, that one.
All right.
So, oh man, we still have one more match after this. All right, Finley and Ace.
Technically, but not really.
Technically, was there a money? I missed the Money in the Bank contract match that happened for these guys to be able to have Violent by Design come in and just take it away from them.
But you're jumping ahead.
I know. So we've got Finn Juice beating Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. What were your thoughts on this match? Was the business done in this match, as we used to say on the Next Level?
Back to you. No, it's like the match was. I didn't enjoy it. Just looking at it, I don't want to watch it. And as I was watching it, I was like, "Yep, I was right." I will say thanks to Ace Austin for doing something besides a chin lock in this match. I'll say that. He had like some arm thing he was going with instead. He still put it on twice, but at least it just wasn't that chin lock, right? Like right before the hot tag, which I don't even have a temperature for this tag. It just sucked. I don't know how to describe it, because let me tell you what he did. He hit Ace with a flying tackle right on the way to the hot tag. He's in the heel corner. Then he runs diagonally towards his own corner. Ace Austin's standing there, or he feeds into it. He feeds around into it. Juice comes in, boom, tackles him, and then from his knees, after landing from the tackle, just tags Finley in. So the heels are down, and here comes Finley for his comeback. Like, okay, it kind of looks like he did it on his own, but go ahead, David Finley, just do your best. So that was weird. Like, And then Finley comes in to start his comeback, and I look away for like a minute because like maybe I'm like on my phone or something. And then like when I look back, next thing I know, Juice is back in legal and getting double teamed and like pinned, like not beaten, but like they're attempting to pin Juice Robinson. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't he just tag out? Why is this already to the point of a double team on somebody else? So it's just like, I just don't know, man. The key thing to take away here for these guys and anybody in a tag team situation, and even the fans, just everybody here in chat when you're watching matches, when the hot tag comes, it's time to take it home soon.
Yeah.
Not necessarily immediately, but that should be like when you know you've only got a couple minutes left here. Unless you're doing a double set of heat, which none of these people should be doing, because that should be for like one of those epic 80s tag team matches that would go like an hour Broadway for the titles or something. Like, then you might want to get a double set of heat. But here for these like 10, 15-minute matches and stuff, you don't need to get 2 heats. So you don't need to, if you're hot tagging, it's time to wrap it up. Wrap it up, B. Wrap that gavel up, B. Just finish it. It's time to go home. Don't just have like 5 more minutes after the hot tag of a bunch of bullshit, right? Like, people have lost interest. You're building the match to a certain point, and once you come, you don't keep fucking. That's not what you do.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Explicit. Very explicit. Very, very,
well,
very
in tribute to Kentaro Miura and Berserk, I just want to be explicit here.
Well, after this match, we speaking of being explicit, we get a call your shot.
The call your shot trophy.
The call your shot trophy, which I totally forgot about Rhino having this. But
it's so funny too. It's so little. This is like a little. It's like about like what, I don't know, like that big. I don't know. Not very big. Not very big of a trophy. But it's funny. Like, you just give this guy this little toy looking trophy. Like, here, I'm cashing it in.
That's like a rib on like the giant trophies that they give them over in like the WWE. Like, they get that giant Andre Memorial Battle Royal trophy they have to carry around with them.
Man, they bring it out on a dolly. Like, I'm cashing it in. Like, that should be. But I get it, as long as it's not a briefcase, right?
Well, Eric Young's Violent by Design, which again, VBD sounds like it's an STD, presents Rhino's Call Your Shot trophy. They're cashing it in, baby. And it's going to be Joe Doring and Rhino versus Finn Juice for the Impact Tag titles. I mean, they just had a very hard-fought match with Madman Fulton and Ace Austin here. So they quickly get dominated by Joe Doring and Rhino for the 1, 2, 3. Violent by Design is your new World Tag Team Champions. And now I saw this on the internet. Are we going to get Freebird rules with this Violent by Design tag title reign that we've got here? Because they're saying Violent by Design wins, not just like Rhino and Joe Doring win. So it's like the whole faction won tonight. So you think that's what we're going to get? We're going to get some Freebird stuff here? Much like the New Day? Probably.
It's kind of it just seems to be what people do now, right? The Freebird rule, even though most of the people that be interested in this shit probably don't remember the Freebirds or ever actually watched them anyway. They only know of them because Michael Hayes is still around in some capacity and won't let people forget it. But yeah, I'm sure they'll do something like that. So you get your wrestling news from the internet? I always go down to the library for all my wrestling news. I look it up in the card catalog, but you use the internet.
Get the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Get the film thing, the microfilm.
Yeah. Another funny thing about this was the way the Impact announcers were behaving, because it was like they seemed somewhat displeased that the Impact wrestlers won the tag team championships back from the New Japan wrestlers. Whereas like every time Kenny comes out, Matt Stryker like it's disingenuous and doesn't sound, like believable, but he acts like he's disgusted that Kenny Impact has their world championship. So it's like, either you're saying that the tag team championships don't mean enough to be disgusted if a New Japan wrestler has them, or you're just being inconsistent. So either way, shore that up. Demolition greater than the Freebirds. I don't know if they I don't know how they did that one back in the day. If I remember correctly, it was kind of like Axe was getting like he didn't want to wrestle anymore, so he just let Smash and Crush do the thing. But I could be wrong. Yeah, but that was pretty much it. We go off the show with new tag team champions, which could mean that Finjuice are getting ready to get shipped back overseas. Hunter, no, you should not be ashamed. You're around for the Freebirds. It's okay. It's okay.
I thought I had a demolition micro brawler, but the box that I just opened, I only have my boogeyman and
he's coming to get you.
And my Tamatonga.
Tamatonga, yeah. Boogeyman's a totally cool guy.
Yes, totally.
He's awesome. Yeah. I mean, the real guy, Marty. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, Vet, that's it. We're through another Impact wrestling taping. We're here. Another Impact attack is over. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about tonight?
No, not really. Just we'll just go over the usual plugs and stuff, unless you had anything else. But so you can, as you can see right there, at Opinion Havers, where you can catch me everywhere outside of here. And if you wanted to check out the next level, some of you were there. You saw me do a run in on Hameen. So finally, the Titanic clash of Hameen and the Vet went pretty well. We had a good time. Like I told the guys on the show, I never actually sat down and talked to Ben Hameen. There was a lot of guys like that we get along. We consider ourselves like brothers in blood and, in the business and stuff like that. And I just never talked to him. I don't know why. Maybe he's made jokes about being intimidated by me or whatever in the past. I never gave him a reason to be, but he just, for whatever reason, like we just never, actually sat down and talked about really anything. Same thing with like Man Beast when we had him on the next level with us. Like I said the same thing about him. Like we were there every day, but we didn't, really have those conversations like that. I didn't, maybe I was standoffish. Maybe other people, oh, thank you, Hunter. Maybe people just saw my face. That's a scary face. Like Spaceman was saying, like I have an intimidating face. Yeah. So maybe they just didn't want to approach me or whatever. But, I think I've proven that, I can be anybody's tag team partner here on Hameen Media Group, and I look forward to continuing to work with people I haven't. This is about getting to do a full show with Big Ray. Full kind of. I was a little bit late, because I have to come straight from work and throw the headset on. But that's what you guys are seeing me. It's always like either right before I have to leave for work, so I just woke up, or I just come home from work and just still got my boots on and throwing the headset on. So. That's the commitment I have for you guys, and I appreciate all you guys in the chat hanging out with us, talking to us, and being here with us.
Do you wear wrestling boots to work?
No.
Oh, damn.
No. These are Timberland Pros, but
steel toe Timberlands.
Yes, 100%.
Gotta have the steel toe. Have the steel toe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I enjoyed it, except for all those times that Ray was trying to get you to bury me.
You saw I didn't go for it, right?
No, you didn't. You didn't fall into his trap, which is funny because Ray, we have that love-hate relationship. Usually when we're on shows
where he
together,
hates to love you.
Yeah, we're on shows together and we bring on a guest or something like that. Like me and BRV go in on him really hard. Billy Ray Valentine will go in really hard on Ray. So Ray just finds the time to be able to like make his little jabs when I'm not around. I love it. I love Ray.
Oh, I do want to say one other thing too. I saw some stuff on Twitter where like, I just want to, between you and Ray and Mandir jumped in, and I just want to say for the record that, I'm not some piece of property to be bandied about. I'm not to be fought over by some divorced couple like you and Ray. Okay. Like that's not,
no, that
I don't
me
belong.
And Mandir fighting over you.
Well, later, but at first it was you and Ray. And so now it's like, I just want to put that out there publicly. Like I belong to no man. All right. Especially no man. Well, maybe
Well,
moose.
He's
I'm if anything, I'm a moose guy. That's it. But none of you jabronis. None of you can lay claim to the vet. All right.
he's not a man. He's a man deer. Okay.
Publicly, no chimera, no kind of creature, nothing except a moose. Perhaps a moose, and not a man moose, just a pure moose.
Share my audio on my Chrome tab right here. So I play this for you guys. This was hilarious.
Colin, you son of a bitch. This is man here. You need to share your vet with me. God damn it.
The goddamn it part always pops me every time I hear it. No, I'm not sharing my vet with you, man deer. You go back to wherever man deers come from. But as you can see, Tony Khan paid me this week, guys. Again, AEW, All Elite Wrestling. Make sure you check it out on TBS. Coming soon, 6:05 Eastern. We have not been demoted. We are gonna beat Moose.
Play the thing.
Kenny Omega's the thing. Oh, it was too low. And guys, you can find me on Twitter at Colin Weiss. You can find me on Facebook at Colin Weiss Song. Got to get the shirt in there too. He told me I'd get an extra $20 if I put the shirt out there. Go and listen to patreon.com/The A Show. Check us out on Twitch every Tuesday. Last week we did a night show. So every third Tuesday we do one at night at 7:30. It's our The A Show After Dark. We've been doing some really cool backstage stuff. If you go and join Patreon for as little as $5, you can get the backstage portions of the shows. This last week we went about 30 minutes after the show. Aaron told two hilarious stories, one about peeing in a vase, the other one about the Harley Davidson shirt that he was wearing the whole entire time. Like, he has no clue how he got that shirt. He was in New Orleans. Xavier Woods saw him wearing a black shirt, and then Xavier Woods said later on that night around 3 a.m. Aaron was wearing that Harley Davidson shirt, and it still had the tags and everything on it. And Aaron's like, I don't know where this shirt came from. It's a hilarious story. Go and check that out. We've got a lot of really funny, hilarious things that Aaron does during the backstage, but fun content. April and Aaron are just so much fun. Cool people. April's so knowledgeable on all this, like, conspiracy theories, and just very passionate about all these things. And I love working with them, Vet. As much as I enjoy working with you, I love working with Aaron and April. It's so much fun. Like, the group chat that we have together, even with me and you, we have a great group chat. And I appreciate all the nice and sweet things that you said about me on the Next Level Wrestling review. And I have to say, Vet, that and since you're here, I wanted to say this to you in person. That one time that I got into it with an Alicia Fox stan, and you DM'd me out of the blue, and you were just like, hey, you sound like a mark, da. And I think I responded back to you, hey man, I appreciate you hitting me up and letting me know, because I've heard about you. I've heard you're in the OVW. I've heard all these things. So it definitely meant something to me to have somebody who was like a worker kind of be like, hey kid, hey kid, pulling me back, pulling the shirt down. Hey kid, come here, listen to this. Like, you totally sound like a fucking mark. Calm it down. And I appreciated that. And I was like, after I sent that to you, I'm like, God, he's probably like, this fucking mark. He really just like sent me this bullshit. But no, it was 100% truthful and honest of how I felt in that moment. Of you kind of like checking me and be like, dude, don't. Alicia Fox is cool. Stop bothering the Alicia Fox stands. And I totally appreciate it. And thank you very much for that, Vet.
Then you shouldn't have said it.
Yes, you shouldn't have said it. But that's how we learn. You make a mistake, and then hopefully you have somebody that can kind of pull you back. And we were all like that. And it depends, can you grow out of it or not? I mean, I was a mark at one time, and I learned pretty quickly. And then I've tried to help other people here and there. But it's not just, maybe we'll go through, maybe we'll have my fabled what is a mark segment that we've been teasing ever since the Next Level days. But this won't be the time. Chappie shows up.
Chappie's late to the party. Now you can catch this in the live section of the YouTube page, so you can always go back and watch in the live area, even before we upload it back to YouTube, or even before we put it on the Patreon. You can always go back and listen to the show from the live link. I think there's a live section that you can go back and watch the stuff from, I'm pretty sure. So you can go back and catch up Classified Chappie. But guys, Vet, if you don't
Chappie was probably watching Gawagura playing Friday Night Funkin', so he missed our stream, but that's okay. It's always going to be there.
The Berserk love and everything. It's totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally okay, Chappie.
But it's
Vet,
all there forever. No, that's it. Just like I said, I appreciate all you guys for hanging out, even if you're late. And if you're not able to join the party live, then like you said, it's going to be archived, so you can always go back. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We're on YouTube, baby. We got to do it the YouTube way. So you can definitely be notified whenever we go live. Whenever Hameen Media Group goes live with all their shows, it's going to be either on Ben Hameen's channel or the HMG channel. So, hit them all up. And if you missed the party, or if you have a question for me or Colin, probably just mostly me, then you can leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you guys. But other than that, I think we're ready to bounce on out of here.
All right, guys, make sure you come back
9 days from tonight
for next week's Impact Attack with myself and the Vet here on, well, I guess it's on the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel and also on patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. And as I said before, for myself, for the Vet, I am Colin Wysong. Peace.
Whoa!